In the near future, many humans have become cyborgs called extended. However, with the Great War having recently ended, many extended, who are former soldiers, began resorting to crime in order to survive. Juzo is a resolver, an extended mercenary who specializes in solving problems caused by other extended. At Bar Love Arm, Juzo throws out some guys that were trying to sell drugs in the bar. The bar owner tries to reach out to Juzo's trigger, but he stops her, explaining that he doesn't allow anyone to touch it except the ones he accepts. Juzo refuses to take the bar owner's money, and she kisses him as thanks, making Juzo blush. Heading home, Juzo sees a crime scene and hears people commenting that it was an act that kidnapped a child and killed a person. He notices a nun speaking with the police. Going back, his landlady, Christina, tells him she heard a noise from his room and thought it was him. Going into his office, Juzo sees the broken window, and seeing the child, he realizes what the police are looking for. He starts calling the security bureau, but as the extend tells him that it's not him and that he isn't a tool, Juzo stops. The security bureau then knocks on the door, and Bromwell tries to enter, but Juzo blocks his way, telling him they can talk on the door. Bromwell explains they are after an extend and threatens Juzo to move away, or since he is overextend, he could lose his license, but Juzo tells him that if he is breaking the law, he will break a few more laws, which scares Bromwell, but before he leaves, he tells Juzo that Baruran Corporation are involved. The extend wonders why Juzo didn't turn him in, and Juzo explains that what he said reminded him of someone from his past. Then he requests that Juzo watch over the kid and take him somewhere safe as he leaves and distracts the police. Juzo then calls Mary and leaves with the kid. Outside, the nun he saw earlier shows up and thanks him for saving the child, which belonged to her orphanage. Juzo starts to wonder if she is really a nun and comments that it's hard for him to believe a nun will look at his face and won't be scared. The woman then reveals she is from Baruran Corporation and starts shooting at Juzo, commenting that she only needs the kid from the neck up. As Juzo hides, she explains that she had heard of him and that he is a gun slave unit, an old relic from the war and a useless tool without an operator. Juzo gets angry and shows up, telling her to tell him again who he is. The extend from earlier shows up and catches the woman, but she uses her enhanced eyesight and uses ricochets to hit the extend and make him release her. She then shoots the extend, but Juzo catches him before he falls deeper in the sewer. He leaves the kid and promises he will finish his job, and the woman shoots him and makes him and the extend fall deeper in the sewer. A bit later, Juzo wakes up and tries to dry himself to not get rusty. He sees the extend still alive, even though it has a hole in his head. The extend explains that he was raised in an orphanage where the nun was, and they used him for experiments. They put a remote control device known as Harmony in him, which allows him to control extends from a distance. He tells him that he is Tetsuro and is currently controlling this body, with which he managed to escape the facility where he was held. Tetsuro fears that he will be their tool again and says that they took his vocal cords and cut the tendons of his hands and feet. Before he lost control of the extend, Tetsuro told Juzo that he was happy that at least someone believed his story and that he had met Juzo. On a train, Sister Karen was transporting Tetsuro towards their facility, but Juzo had put a tracking device on Tetsuro and waited at the train tracks. As the train approaches him, Juzo stops the train and gets inside. Karen shoots at him, but the bullets bounce off his head. Tetsuro then activates the Harmony device, taking control over an extend, and asks Juzo for help. Karen shoots Juzo, but he blocks her bullets with his arm and then gets closer and knocks her out. Juzo takes Tetsuro and leaves. He calls Mary and hears the news about the derailed Baruran train and that they are blaming the Spitsbergen organization for that. The news then revealed that Baruran CEO son Tetsuro Arahabaki has been missing for over a year. At Mary's place, she had a patient who had incompatibility with her new parts, and her condition was worsening. Mary removed the part and told the man that if they needed parts, she could sell them better parts for cheaper than the ones they got from Kyusei Group. After that, she tells Juzo that he can come out. Juzo asks her if she can hide the kid, and Mary agrees. He explains about the Harmony device, and Mary explains how it should work, but removing it can lead to the boy's death. Mary says that she will give new limbs and a vocal device to the kid, and he asks her to call him when he wakes up. Juzo goes to look for his favorite brand of cigarettes, then notices a tobacco vending machine and finds that it has his favorite cigarettes. He pays, but the machine fails to drop the cigarettes. He ends up hitting the vending machine, and it drops his cigarette, but two police officers see him and take him. They lead him to meet Hugh, who works for Baruran Corp and knows a lot about Juzo. He wants Tetsuro back and wants to get him back peacefully, so he offers Juzo a full box of his favorite cigarettes, which they had brought out from everywhere in the city. Hugh knows that cigarettes are a medicine for the overextended and help them relieve the pain and continue to have control over their extended parts, and that particular brand contains the strongest medicine. He knows that Juzo didn't have those cigarettes today and assumes he has difficulty controlling his parts. He orders his men to attack Juzo and hold him down. However, Juzo tells him he missed something in his research. Juzo then frees himself and says that he can move even without those particular cigarettes, and he just likes their taste. Juzo beats Hugh's bodyguards, who then tell his sniper to shoot, but Mary has already taken care of him. Hugh then leaves, taking the box with the cigarettes, and Juzo tells him he didn't mean to take the box. Mary gives Juzo cigarettes, for which he just copied the active ingredients of his favorite cigarettes, but since she doesn't smoke, she doesn't know how they must taste. She explains that she called his office, but as he didn't answer, she went looking for him and told him that Tetsuro was awake. Tetsuro is trying to get used to his new limbs and eat. Meanwhile, Huang from the Kyusei group comes and wants to speak with Juzo. Huang wants Juzo to help them resolve a problem they have with an extend. Huang explains that recently there were attacks on kids in Kyusei pit, and their extend limbs were taken and hanged for everyone to see. As the kids are not waking up and they lost even their own men against the attacker, he wants Juzo to help out. Huang tells him he heard he had issues with Baruran and offers to smooth things out with them. Juzo explains that he believes anyone has to deal with their own problems by themselves, and they need to protect their own territory. Huang decides to leave, explaining that he doesn't want to cause trouble as Mary has also helped their men, but warns Juzo that there are rules in the Kyusei pit and that if he causes trouble, there will be consequences. After Huang left, Mary went to Juzo, and he told her he thought it was the Baruran, who were attacking children until they found Tetsuro. Having overheard all that, Tetsuro doesn't want to stay still and do nothing while kids are getting injured. He explains how he escaped and wasn't able to help anyone, but now he doesn't want to stay still. He wants to hire Juzo and offers his harmony device, but Juzo explains they are not even sure if they can remove it. Tetsuro then uses the harmony device on Juzo and takes control over his body. He then takes his own body while controlling Juzo and leaves. While looking around, Tetsuro sees two girls and an end being chased by Extend. He ends up knocking out the Extend. Anne tells Enthate they promised they would return her body to normal if they did this job, and they were told that they needed to kill any witnesses. And then transforms into a spider-like Extend, and Tetsuro realizes they were the ones attacking children. Tetsuro tries to explain that he was also imprisoned and experimented with but managed to escape from Baruran, but Anne tells him that they are not imprisoned and that's their only home. Anne starts shooting and manages to hit Tetsuro, who realizes the bullets have poison, and that's why the kids weren't waking up. Moments later, Anne goes berserk, wanting Anne to hold her hand. Anne manages to catch up to her and holds her hand, making her calm down and return to normal. The girls meet up with Hugh, and Anne wants them to take Anne to the facility and check on her as she is on her limit, but Hugh reminds them of their job, and as they are failing it, he plans on terminating them. Tetsuro comes and punches the man holding Anne, stating they weren't tools. Hugh believes that Tetsuro is an extend of the Kyusei group and orders his men to attack him. But as his face is revealed, he gets shocked as he sees Juzo's face. He tells Anne and End that they were actually useful and orders them to show their value against Juzo. End transforms and attacks Juzo, making his backpack fall and revealing Tetsuro's body. Seeing that, Hugh realizes that Tetsuro is the one controlling Juzo right now, which makes him laugh as Tetsuro has eliminated both his protector and their biggest nuisance. Listening to Tetsuro's speech about wanting to be free and not a tool, Anne wonders what is wrong with being a tool and if that is the only way they can continue living. She tells Anne to hurry and kill him, but Anne reaches for her hand, asking Anne to hold it. Hugh then shoots Anne with a drug that will put her brain in a comatose state and cause her to go berserk. Hugh explains that his goal right now isn't to capture Tetsuro but to take something from Juzo, as he had promised him, and he is sure that this way Kyusei group will kick them out of Kyusei pit. Anne goes berserk, and Tetsuro tries to protect Anne from her attack. That makes him lose control over Juzo. Anne, badly injured, tells Tetsuro that his death ring has appeared, and if he continues, he will fry his brain. In her last moments, she asks him to save End. Tetsuro attempts to use the harmony, but it has been weakened, and he can't take control of End. He tries to take control of one of her arms and attack her sub-brain to stop her, but fails. End attacks Tetsuro, but Juzo protects him and pushes End away. Juzo takes Tetsuro and brings him to an elevator, explaining that Tetsuro used him as a tool, and even though it was different, it was still similar to what Baruran do. As End comes after them, they ride the Evlator down, but she still catches up. Juzo, not in a condition to continue fighting, tells Tetsuro that there is a 90% chance she will die, but she must use his gun on his head. Tetsuro does and manages to defeat End. Later, Juzo and Tetsuro are kicked out of the Kyusei pit, but Huang manages to convince his group to leave Mary. Juzo explains that N's poison is a program that paralyzes the sub-brain of an Extend, but since he is an old model, it didn't work that well on him. Mary is currently making a counter-program that will save the affected kids, and she has also managed to save End. Tetsuro figures that Juzo could have resisted his harmony control at any time, but Juzo had let him control him or his purpose. Juzo tells him that he helped him this time since he promised to protect him but to never use harmony on him again, and that only those he accepts can touch his trigger, and he doesn't plan on accepting anyone. Juzo is surprised things are calm after the events in Kyusei Pit. They see on the news that they are investigating the origin of the weapon that was fired in Kyusei Pit, and Mary explains that extends with weapon extensions are called overextends and they need a license from the EMS to live. Since Juzo shot his weapon without authorization, if EMS learned about it, they would scrape him into parts. Tetsuro wants to leave in order to not further endanger Juzo and Mary, but Juzo stops him, explaining that he doesn't have anywhere to go and Baruin are everywhere. Mary tells Juzo that Wong sent some pot with crab as thanks for stopping End, and Juzo needs to get it from Christina. Tetsuro decides to go and get it. Moments later, Tetsuro starts calling for help as Christina jumps on him and starts kissing him. The pot is ready, and they prepare to eat, but Juzo decides to leave. Outside, Juzo sees a girl named Scarlet harassed by some policemen, and he scares them away. They go into the barber shop to see her father fall asleep after eating some of the pot crab. After he wakes up, he starts cleaning Juzo's head gun. A woman then approaches Juzo, saying that she knows he is in trouble with Baruin, and if he shoots his weapon, the reconstruction agency will come sniffing around, and since they don't get along with Baruin, they will keep Baruin away from him. Juzo says he has been waiting for all of year, and she arrests him for their use of his weapon and revokes his license. Mary and Tetsuro come to bring some more pot crab, but Juzo is arrested. Juzo wants the old man to finish his cleaning before he goes, and Olivier agrees, but the old man has pissed himself and tells Scarlet to finish it. Everyone is taken by EMS. In the car, Olivier tells him about an EMS prison van being attacked and that 7 dangerous prisoners who were transferred to the Baruin research facility had escaped. She requests that Juzo help her out and that 5 of the 7 prisoners have been recaptured, and she has located one of the remaining 2, but the problem is the last one. Their convoy then gets attacked by the located prisoner. He tricks the EMS soldiers into shooting at his chest and freeing him. Hugbear then proceeds to kill some of the EMS men. As Scarlet and the rest are in danger, Juzo frees himself, preparing to go, but sees Cronin von Wolf arriving and stopping Hugbear. Even though Cronin was asked to deal with this discreetly, he doesn't care how his superiors will handle Baruin and only cares about punishing those who break the law. Cronin doesn't want to work with Juzo, but Olivier tells him it won't be easy to recapture the last prisoner and reveals that's Hayden Gondry, the first recorded rampaging Extend. In Olivier's office, she tells Juzo that she had taken his group into custody as he had requested and comments about Tetsuro, saying that he has signs of operations and knows Baruin is looking for a boy. Olivier then tells Juzo about the last prisoner, Hayden Gondry, a former military officer who, 10 years ago, went berserk and killed 16 people. She takes Juzo to the morgue, where she shows 3 murdered people, believing they were killed by Hayden. They can't find any relation to the 3 dead people, except that they are all Extends. She believes that Spitsbergen can also be involved, and while they are an anti-Extend organization, if they had proven that Hayden berserk was caused by his extensions, they would not have become so popular today. She requests that Juzo bring him back alive, and she places him in court to learn the truth. Juzo heads into the home of the 3rd victim, an ex-military who for his accomplishments in the war was appointed as a high official in the reconstruction agency. Juzo finds a hidden picture but then gets attacked by Cronin. Both express their desire for the other to drop the case. Unable to avoid all of Cronin's needles, Juzo moves slightly, causing them to not hit the right stop and pretend to be affected by them, but Cronin sees through it all. Cronin then stops attacking, saying he is out of needles, but he is always watching law-breaking Extends like Juzo and will risk his life to hunt them if they break the law. Juzo asks him to take him to Hayden's next target. He shows the picture and states that he remembered who they were. 3 of them are already dead. 4th is Hayden and the 5th is the first full-body Extend, Mega Arm Takasada. Arriving at the Takasada statue event, Juzo sees a girl with flowers who falls and lifts her up. Looking at his face, she doesn't get scared and tells him his face feels nostalgic. The kid asks Mega Arm Takasada to show his move, and Takasada punches the ground with Funk Faust. The girl from before goes to Takasada and wants to give him flowers. A man then tries to attack Takasada, but Juzo stops him and tells Takasada to get away. Hayden frees himself and attempts to attack Juzo. Cronin uses his needles to stop Juzo in order to defeat Hayden. But Juzo still moves, and Cronin kicks his head, and his gun hits Hayden and knocks him out. Looking at him, Juzo realizes this isn't Hayden. Takasada had escaped with his men and the girl. He congratulates her on her bravery and for staying silent. In that moment, his men get killed and the girl reveals it's Hayden. Olivier meets with the higher-ups, who tell her that she had orders to take Hayden silently, but she explains that she wants to bring him to justice. The man tells her that her father was one of his victims in the past and that he expected her to want revenge, and he suspends her from her position as he had assigned someone else to take care of the situation. Hayden is about to kill Takasada, but Juzo and Cronin arrive, and Cronin uses his needles on Hayden, but he manages to escape. Meanwhile, Mary guesses that Juzo will soon be out of cigarettes as she couldn't give him the new package this morning. Seeing that Tetsuro calls the guards and uses his harmony device, he plans on taking the cigarettes to Juzo. Juzo explains to Takasada that he took a request to capture Hayden and informs him that his other comrades are dead. Juzo asks Takasada why Hayden may want him dead, but Takasada says that there are many who target a hero like him, but wonders why he would target his other comrades. Takasada explains Hayden's disguise ability and that he never failed an assassination, but all that places great pressure on his sub-brain, which in the end caused his rampage. Juzo wonders why Cronin's needles didn't work on Hayden, and Cronin explains that he had memorized all the trigger points on all extend parts, but irregular types often have unique trigger points. Cronin informs Juzo of his new orders that tell him to retreat and that Olivier is temporarily suspended. Juzo tells him that he has not received any order to drop the request from Olivier, and if he indeed captures Hayden and the truth comes out, her superiors won't be able to remove her. When Cronin leaves, Hayden reveals himself and attacks Juzo from behind. He then turns his eyes on Takasada, but Juzo stands up and engages Hayden in combat, stating it's a fight until one of them fries his sub-brain. Juzo manages to cause Hayden's sub-brain to overheat and reveal its location in his throat. Hayden attempts to run, and Juzo states that he puts his trust in Cronin and that he will do what he finds is just, no matter what his orders are. Cronin then waits for Hayden to pass by, hits his sub-brain with his needles, and stops him. Takasada realizes that Juzo fought in a damaging way in order to capture Hayden alive and believes that even if he falls, Cronin will capture Hayden, making him realize that Juzo is dangerous. Elsewhere, Pepper comments that her harmony device lost control of Hayden and that she fought with another gun slave unit like 7. She comments that she was so close to killing Takasada but ended up playing too much. Meanwhile, Olivier gets informed that of the 3 dead men, the third has a different cause of death, a hit in the chest that stopped his heart, and it was like someone who imitated Hayden. Tetsuro arrives and beats the Olivier guards, wanting her to take him to Juzo. Juzo carries Hayden, who awakens and is immediately tranquilized again by Cronin, but before losing consciousness, he wonders what happened to the war and his comrades. Takasada then tells them that if the truth is revealed, it will slow the extension's progress, and the country will not have prospered. He tells them they can't allow Hayden to reveal the truth, and Juzo and Cronin will have to perish here. He attacks and knocks out Cronin. Takasada turns towards Juzo, and they clash fists using Funk Faust. Heading towards Juzo, Olivier recalls a time with her father, who promises that after this current assignment, he will drop out of the military and bring her some canned food. They hear an explosion, and Tetsuro realizes that it must be Juzo, and he heads out alone. Takasada checks Juzo's cigar and realizes that, after all this fighting, he may not even be able to stand up anymore. He wants Juzo to work with him and improve his position in society, but when Juzo refuses, he breaks his neck. Takasada then goes to Hayden, stating that he has to sacrifice himself one more time for them, but hears a noise and turns around. He sees Juzo standing up and entering combat mode, waiting for an operator with the hands device. Realizing he can't do anything without an operator, Takasada goes and punches him, but Juzo's program registers the attack and enters a restricted combat program to eliminate the target. Juzo then starts beating Takasada, who uses his hidden Gatling gun, but it has no effect on Juzo. Takasada throws a bomb that also causes a smoke screen and attempts to run. As he heads back to Hayden, Takasada comments that he must not allow the truth to come out of how he killed the men that came to the facility and how he made Hayden take the blame. Olivier waits at Hayden and overhears Takasada. She asks him to explain himself, as one of those military officers was her father. Takasada explains that the research at that facility was necessary for the future of the extends in the country, and the officers didn't understand it, so they had to be erased. Juzo arrives with Tetsuro and attacks Takasada. Knowing that he killed her father, Olivier tells Juzo to kill him, but Juzo misses with his Funk Faust punch. Juzo asks Olivier if that is really what she wants. As Juzo stops moving, Takasada pushes him away and stands up. He states that his existence is too great, that he is the bridge between humans and extends and he must live for a greater cause. Olivier tells him that her father sacrificed everything for a greater cause and that Takasada is just selfish. She lights up a cigarette and blows the smoke into Juzo's mouth. Takasada takes a pipe, and as he is about to strike and kill Olivier, she asks Juzo if he is going to let a client die. Juzo then wakes up, stops Takasada's attack, takes the pipe, and destroys Takasada's right arm. EMS soldiers come, and Olivier opens a can of food, making them think it's some sort of gas, while giving a chance for Juzo and Tetsuro to escape. In a van, Olivier shows a recording of their conversation with Takasada and states she sent it to someone she knew from the Department of Justice. Takasada tells her that neither the Department of Justice or EMS can handle this matter. Before he is able to tell her more, Pepper, using Seven, shoots the van from a distance. Pepper comments that she doesn't like using Seven's power, and the smell of his muzzle makes her nose run. She states that heroes are complete when they die and congratulates Baruran's puppet, Takasada. Mafalda and Imelda inform the Baruran board that Hugh wishes to speak with them. He wishes to redeem himself for his failed negotiation with Juzo and informs them that they managed to eliminate Takasada. Hugh explains that they made Takasada a hero, but last week another member of Tindalos threatened to reveal the truth about the incident 10 years ago and Takasada killed him. Takasada then asked them to help him cover the murder, so they controlled Hayden Gondry and made him kill other Tindalos members. In the end, they killed Takasada as the board had requested. The board likes what they hear, but comments that they didn't allow the use of the gun slave unit or the involvement of the EMS director. They decide to give him one chance to redeem himself. Outside, Hugh meets Pepper and Seven and complains that they did a poor job. Pepper blames the Harmony device, but Hugh explains that it is only a replica of the original. Before leaving, he tells them to stay quiet until he has new jobs for them. But Pepper has no such plans, as she is now interested in Juzo. Tetsuro and Mary go into Juzo's office to inform him that the hot pot is almost ready and he can come and eat with them. Tetsuro explains that he still can't repay Juzo and would like to work with him and help him, but Juzo doesn't want it as it will just make him a bigger target. Christina calls Mary to come outside as an extend boy has collapsed. Seeing the man, Mary recognizes him as Colt and they bring him down. She explains how she met him and that he is an underage illegal immigrant working to support his family. Colt wakes up and as thanks gives Mary an old model hand, which Mary comments is really good quality. Colt explains that he got a new job that will pay well and he will be able to pay his medical fees. His mother became a tester for Baruran, wanting to get better and work too, but her extension wasn't compatible with her sub-brain and caused nerve damage, so he is trying to get money for her surgery. Before leaving, he takes an item and Tetsuro notices. Outside, Tetsuro tells Colt that if he returns what he stole, he won't tell Mary. Colt attempts to jump away, and Tetsuro uses his Harmony, causing him to fall. Tetsuro goes to check on Colt, but he pins him to the wall and asks him what he did, as it was awesome. He thought his sub-brain had fried and got scared. Colt asks Tetsuro if he would like to help him with his job and tells him the location and time and then leaves. Mary then shows up, asking where Colt is, as the part he gave her was made by Victor, her big brother, whom she was looking for. Bromwell visits Juzo and offers a job for Juzo to capture Sarashagan, a man linked to Spitsbergen. At the mega-armed Takasada Memorial, Mary and Tetsuro hide in a dumpster and wait for Colt. They go out of the dumpster and are immediately spotted by an extend. An explosion occurs, taking away the attention of the extend, and Tetsuro uses his Harmony to take control of him. He then sees Colt heading towards the explosion. Juzo enters a bar to see Sarashagan taking a hostage and warning Juzo he will kill her, but Juzo easily disarms him and frees the hostage. He tells him that there is someone who wants to speak with him about his acts of terrorism, and Sarashagan guesses it's about today's and explains that he only introduced the boy to Spitsbergen. Colt sees Mary and Tetsuro with an extend and points a gun at him, telling him to release them, but Tetsuro explains that's him. Colt explains his job: if something were to happen during this ceremony, all Baruran officials would escape with a train that had a bomb on it. Tetsuro wants to stop him from killing people, but Colt explains that his family depends on it, and he wants his sisters to have a future and to know what tomorrow could mean. The train leaves, and the guards notice them, open fire, and manage to hit the bomb remote control. Having no choice, Colt jumps on the train and Tetsuro goes after him. Mary then notices that part of the train didn't leave. On the top of the train, an extend shows up and Tetsuro stays to distract him while Colt goes on ahead. Colt reaches the bomb and activates the timer manually. Tetsuro then gets defeated and Colt is captured. He comments that it doesn't matter, and as long as the officials die, his family will receive money. The extend explains that the officials remained in another car at the train station and were transformed to safety by other means, as they knew a terrorist attack could happen and had developed other strategy plan. He explains that on the train are the innocent protesters at the memorial ceremony and the choir of orphans that sang during the ceremony. So now Spitsbergen will blow up innocent people, making them terrorists without a case. They detach the cars with the bomb and innocent people. Colt frees himself and jumps on the other cars, preparing to input the code to disarm the bomb, but gets shot in the back. Colt rips the bomb and manages to throw it away, but his medicine runs out and he freezes. Tetsuro then uses his harmony device, rushes in with the extend, and throws the bomb away, letting it explode in the air. Mary and Tetsuro, in his own body, go find Colt. Mary comments that he needs medical attention or he will die, but Colt jumps in, saying he is alright and thanks Tetsuro for helping him out, as that way he didn't end up killing innocent people. Mary asks him from where he took the part that her brother made, and Colt explains that he stole it from the black market. As he is pretty beat up, Colt asks Tetsuro to control his body and take him back home. As they get close to his home, Colt thanks Tetsuro once again and comments on how amazing he is, and moments later he dies. Juzo informs Sarashagan that the Spitsbergen attack failed. Bromwell then arrives and tells Sarashagan he isn't there as the chief of the security bureau, as even more of the extends are out of their jurisdiction. But because of all the people and weapons he sold to Spitsbergen, he lost a lot of family members. So Bromwell is here to make sure, and Sarashagan pays for that. Before being taken, Juzo asks who told him how he looked, and Sarashagan tells him he knows him better than him, and that's Victor. Returning to his office, Juzo notices his door is unlocked. Pepper tells him she is losing her patience waiting for him and wants Juzo to grant her wish. Seven then attacks Juzo from behind, but Juzo blocks his attack. Pepper tells Seven to stop. Juzo realizes they are from Baruran, as they would need a license for Seven to walk around, and he sees Pepper has a hands device, which is an exclusive device used to release the control program on a gun slave unit, and the Reconstruction Agency would never allow a GSU and hands to be together. Pepper confirms, but explains she is here for a personal reason. She asks Juzo who is his owner, as her request is to defeat him and Juzo. She uses the hands device, activates Seven's combat program, and orders him to pin Juzo. Seven attacks Juzo with Hitsy Faust, but Juzo avoids it and trips him, making Seven fall. Seeing that, Pepper gets angry and tells Seven not to disappoint her. Seven gets up and pins Juzo, breaking the wall and making them both fall from the upper floors. Pepper realizes that Juzo indeed doesn't have a partner and tells him to get serious or he will die. But Juzo explains that he only uses his power to complete a job he accepted and has no interest in listening to her stupid request. Pepper prepares to attack Juzo, but Tetsuro gets in her way and Seven stops her, and she realizes that Tetsuro used a harmony device on Seven. Realizing who Tetsuro is, he comments that it may be bad if she lays a hand on him and decides they leave. In the morning, the EMS came to investigate the incident, and Cronin showed pictures of Pepper and Seven and explained they were resolvers working for Baruran. He explains that they are likely the ones that attacked Olivier when they wanted to eliminate Hayden and Takasada. Baruran had paid lots of money to hide that fact, and EMS plans to not go after them, so Juzo needs to protect himself. Thinking about the current situation, Juzo recalls a time with his old partner, where he tells Juzo that he followed orders and that it was not Juzo's fault, but his, as he treated him like a person and not as a tool. Later, Mary brings a customer to Juzo, Danny Yo. He requests that Juzo protect a girl from an extend that haunts her. Juzo accepts, and Mary decides to tag along. She tells Juzo that EMS is protecting Tetsuro right now, and Baruran won't make a move too carelessly. She also put a high voltage current at the door that will activate if someone forces it to open. Mary gets excited about the case as ghost of an extend can mean a super old model. Rosa recalls how she was living a normal life until one day, because of an extend, their car crashed and her parents died, and she lost a leg. Danny Yo brings Juzo and Yui to McMahon House, wanting Juzo to protect Rosa from a ghost. Danny explains that he came in contact with the ghost, but at the place he lost it, there are footprints, and he believes it's someone who is after valuable evidence regarding a case in which her father worked, and that Rosa truly believes a ghost is after her. Going to Rosa's room, Danny finds her hiding under the bed. As she saw Juzo, she threw a vase at him and started to scream, but Danny explains that he hired Juzo to protect her and to think about what the culprit may be after. Mary tells the men to leave, and outside, Juzo notices something and goes after it. He gets attacked by two flying hands, and he manages to capture one of them. Meanwhile, Mary decides to help Rosa clean herself and starts washing her back. Rosa explains that her father was working for the Department of Justice, and he died because he likely did something to an extend and she doesn't want to do anything with extends. Mary then sees a picture of a motorcycle and gets super excited, as only 5 of them were produced during the war. Rosa tells her they still have it in storage and that she is free to take it as she won't be able to drive it anymore. Mary sees that Rosa holds a bulky pendant, and Rosa explains that her father gave it to her a little before the incident. Danny enters and takes Rosa, wanting to take her to safety as the Extend had attacked, and Juzo went to fight it. But at the door, Juzo shows up and blocks his way. Juzo finds it strange that the ghost left footprints and reveals 2 Extend hands that couldn't leave the footprint. Juzo tells Rosa he will show her the real ghost. Juzo then asks Danny why he left a fake footprint and if he was trying to convince Rosa that someone was after something and that Rosa should give him the whereabouts of it. Juzo enters the room and picks up a framed picture with the arms noting. Juzo then yells, and Danny crunches with Mary, realizing he has a wiretap in his ears. Danny tries to explain that he wanted to protect her, but Juzo comments that he didn't hire anyone else to protect her and left her alone when he went to Juzo, as he knew that the intruder would never actually attack her. Rosa says that he can't trust anything and Extend says and tells Juzo that he is no longer human but a monster, after which Danny leaves with her. In the car, Danny comments that he is glad that Rosa believed him, but Rosa tells him that she doesn't completely trust him and points his gun at him. Danny tells her that he and her father are fighting for justice and that her father has obtained data that would prove the dangers from the Extends and that they could crush Baruan Corporation. Rosa wonders why her father would give her something so important and not give it to Danny. He agrees with her, commenting that he shouldn't have involved his daughter in something like this, as that puts him again in a bad position. Danny suddenly stops the car, and Rosa drops the gun. He explains that he doesn't know how her father got the data, but he was a coward and didn't want to use it to its fullest. But if they give it to Spitsbergen, they will be able to get rid of the Extend for them and would also receive a big reward. As he loads the gun, Rosa realizes he caused the car incident, and Danny explains that the hand Extend wasn't part of his plan, and it has been protecting her since then. Danny then shoots Rosa, but the right hand Extend was hiding in the car, and he took the bullet for her. The other hand is guiding Juzo and Mary, who took the Gustav bike. They crash the bike, but Juzo manages to stop Danny's car and then knocks him out. Later, Bromwell says that for now, this incident is under his jurisdiction, and they will investigate the deaths of George McMahon and his wife until Ems takes the case from them. Mary tells Juzo that she manages to solve the pendant and takes out the antique memory medium. Juzo says that if it's that valuable, he may be able to sell it. He then yells for everyone to hear that he is taking the data as a reward. At his office, Mary states that with her current equipment, she can't extract the data because it's too old. Mary realized that Juzo took the data so that the girl would not be attacked again. They wondered what happened to the hand Extend as it disappeared, but in the next moment, the hand Extend appeared on Juzo's shoulder. Thank you for watching till the end, and please don't forget to subscribe.